All right, power junkies, today I've got another portable solar generator slash power station. This one's quite nice, and it's my first from RockPals. It's the Freeman 600. Welcome to the Vapor Trail channel. I'm Tony. Yeah, today this is what we're looking at from RockPals. This is the Freeman 600. Start off by taking a look at the website. RockPals Freeman 600 watt power station, 614.4 watt hour solar generator with 12 volt regulated power supply, 110 volt / 600 watt pure sine wave, 3 AC outlets, pass through fast charging, 156 watt input, which I've gotten pretty close to actually. This does use the Meepo 4 battery. It's an outdoor generator for road trip camping, adventure, CPAP, RV, and power outage. One of the things I was most interested in these things for is I use a lot of electric vehicles, personal electric vehicles like skateboards, bikes, scooters. And if we have a power outage, well, I can use this to charge those. Plus, my wife and I cannot sleep without a fan at night, so that's important. Also, it will work great for if you have one of those coolers that plugs into a car outlet or something, because you got one right here. Boom, and you can plug it in and you'd be able to keep your food cold. Now, I live in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. We have hurricanes here quite a bit. With one of these, I can keep my food cold, run my fan overnight, and charge an electric skateboard. So there you go. Now, of course, I've got a few different units, so I would spread that power around, but you get my point. Website also says the Freeman 600 portable power station equipped with Meepo batteries. And the reason why those are important, they offer more than 3,000 times longer lifespan. 614.4 watt hours of solar generator is the best camping gear for all kinds of electronics on your great adventure. An iPhone you can charge about 60 times, a 12-inch MacBook about 11 times, a drone 60 watt hour you could charge about 9 times, and it can power a camera for 24.5 hours, which I think is pretty cool because I do like to do some astrophotography with long exposures, or even if you're doing a time lapse, you could plug your camera into this. For a fan, you'd get about 22 hours, that's great, or a mini car refrigerator, 40 watts for about 12 hours. There are multiple outputs on this. You can charge up to 11 devices at once. It also includes 3 pure sine wave 110 volt AC outlets, 600 watt rated, 1000 watt maximum. It has 1 DC input, 1 carport, 2 DC outputs, 2 USB 3.1A ports, and 1 USB-A 3.0 quick charge port, 18 watt max on that one, and 1 USB-C PD output with 60 watts max output on that one. This USB port right here, which is 3.0, and USB-C port allows for charging 2.5 times faster than universal USB-C chargers. It has versatile charging methods, as multiple charging methods of a generator, solar panels, wall outlet, and cigarette lighter carport. Using different methods at once results in 6 total combinations that take as little as 3.5 hours to recharge 0 to 80% for simultaneously charging of DC and USB-C PD. Here's an example. I plugged it into the wall. I'm getting pretty good input on that. And then as you see, when we plug in this USB-C port as well into a charging block that will plug into the wall, that bumps it up and gives you considerably higher charging capacity. In my testing, it took about 6.5 hours to charge with just the charging block. And then when you use that USB-C, it increased the speed up to 2 hours. So about 4.5 hours to charge the full thing. Or up to 80 anyways, 80%. And what's nice is that with that USB-C port over here, you don't have to have all those charging blocks and stuff. If you've got a cable that's USB-C to USB-C and that's what your device uses, just plug it right in, you're good to go. When the display turns off, if you want to turn the display on, you just hold that button. Of course, the display can be turned off if you're using any of the other functions as well. It is 12 volt regulated, has 3 pure sine wave AC outlets power, which I'll show you in just a second. Those AC outlets will power your device in a safe and stable manner, prevents damage, and reduces audible and electrical noise. It does come with this little mesh pouch, which is kind of nice to keep all of your stuff together. It's the only one I've gotten so far that had that. I got extra stuff in here. If I look at the manual, which is right here, the manual shows user guide, power block, and the car charging adapter. I got an Anderson plug, or an Anderson cable here, or adapter. So we got that in there. And I also got a DC cable, which would plug into these DC outputs right there if you needed to go straight into DC with something. We also got the car adapter, which can plug into that to charge it. And then this is the power block that I got, the AC adapter. I put labels on everything because I have so many of these things around. It's the only way to keep track of them. That's the plug, goes right into that input right there. Plug it into the wall. The Anderson cable, a lot of solar panels just have an Anderson cable. You might have, like my RockPals one has an adapter. I can put any size thing on there. But if you've got an Anderson cable, no problem. It plugs in right there. And you know, if your panel has one of those on there already, great. Once again, highlights 614.4 watt-hour capacity, regulated 12-volt DC output, QC 3.0, and 60-watt USB-C for fast charging. MPPT charge controller, so if you wanted to have multiple panels plugged into this, you could. Power multiple devices at once up to 11, pure sine wave, multi-port output, and 156 watt fast charging. Some examples of how many hours you can get out of different items are available on the website. This would be great for power tools, dorm fridge, CPAP, charging electric skateboards or bikes, definitely does that. But you're not gonna use it for large appliances. I did actually plug this thing into an air fryer. That was taking too much wattage from it. Didn't trip it though. It just ran it at a lower wattage, I think, because that's how the air fryer was running. Some cool stuff about this on the display. It does show you the temp on here, and as you can see in this little video clip here, while the USB-C PD was plugged in, the fan was rolling. You can see that. But as soon as I unplugged that, the fan stopped. So the fans are only going to keep it to a certain temperature. You can do solar input up to 120 watts on this. So for each one of the sections, if you're gonna turn on one of these sections here, then the little USB light is gonna turn on for that. So USB, I'm gonna hold that in. And now it's telling you that the output is 0 watts. There's no input because we're not charging it right now. If there was input, it would tell you that. And you can see that there's a little LED light on each one of those things. If we turn on the AC, so the AC is around here on the back. You can see that we have 3 AC ports there. I will tell you that the handle on this thing, when it's locked all the way down in that position, it's kind of hard to get it out of there, so I just kind of leave it like that. It does not have an inductive charger on the top of it like some of them do. Right here on the side, it says Freeman, and that is where fans are. And there are also fans over here on this side. Here's the bottom of the device in case you want to see that. If you want to really go through the stuff that's on there, you can pause it, but all that information is available on their website. I also got this little card inside there which shows you how to connect. I do have the SP003 100 watt panel. I actually have a review for that here on the channel, which you can see popping up right over here. But yeah, it comes with all these adapters and tells you exactly which one you'd need. And your Anderson plug, that's what I was talking about. Some of these just use an Anderson plug, so you'll do like that. Now my wife and I always have a fan on the bed when we sleep. So I did plug the fan into this one night, ran it on high all night, probably about 8 hours or so. And it barely took a hit on the power that was on there. Maybe about 15–20% of the power was eaten up by that. Now, while it says 1000 watt peak power and 600 watts regular power, pretty much anything over 600 watts may trip it, or it's just gonna run it at a lower wattage, you know. So I've only had this thing trip on me one time, and that was because I was running multiple things and I wasn't filming at the time, but it did do that. So let's see, in the case of an electric skateboard, I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in back here. It's already on AC. And plug that in right there. Let me take this off of the tripod so I can show you. Now the fans are definitely going on this thing. It's charging at 82 watts though, and that's nice. You can see down there the indicator shows that the fans are on. It's at 71%, and that says 60 hertz down there as well. You can see a little bit better. So it works great for that, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted it. You know, ultimately I'd like to be able to charge these things up with the sun, which isn't so easy to do during the winter out here, but I'd like to charge them up with the sun and then use those to charge my electric vehicles. All right, we'll do another test here. I'm gonna turn off AC. I wanna turn on USB. All right, we're gonna plug into the 60 watt USB-C PD. And then I'm gonna plug my iPad in. And the output on that is 12 watts, 17 watts. Let's just let it go for a second here and see how it does. 20 watts. So yeah, hovers between 17 and 22 watts. That is not too bad at all. And that will charge this thing up pretty quickly. So just to show you as we plug it in, cranks up the watts, and then if we want to unplug it, it goes right down to 0 watts. So I did review that 100-watt solar panel. You can watch that video. And after using this one for over a month, I'd say that the quality of their products is really good, at least based on these two products. Now, of course, this isn't my only solar generator / power station that I own, and together they make a network of things that I will need around this place if the power goes out, which it does. Again, we have hurricanes here. I've been without power for 3 days during a hurricane, and it ain't easy, especially because they usually happen when it's hot out and we need our fans to sleep and all that kind of stuff. So this is a nice little unit for a lot of different reasons. The fact that it uses LiFePO batteries is a big reason. At this point, when it comes to these little solar generators, power stations, I don't know why you wouldn't go with that, but yeah, they do give you a lot more cycle times, and it's just a lot more reliable battery system. There are plenty of outlets on this thing. You can charge up to 11 devices, although charging 11 devices is going to deplete it pretty quickly. But if you're running a mini fridge off of it, or one of those coolers, or charging an electric skateboard and a bike and your iPad and your iPhone all at once, you'd do pretty good with that. Charging this thing with the block and with that USB-C cable, 4.5 hours. I haven't gotten a full charge off of solar yet because the conditions where I live are just not really great for solar power. If we even get sun during the day, it's not optimal. I'm sure I'll get better results charging it with the solar panel as we get into summer, but I'm very happy with that. I don't know if they all come with that Anderson cable and the DC cable that I got with mine that were inside the package. They're not listed inside the manual, but I did get them. Ultimately though, if you're tiny living, if you're living out of a van or doing the van life or something like that, this would be a nice little unit to have. But for my purposes, charging personal electric vehicles, and even stuff like going to the beach. I live where we can drive out on the beach in certain areas, take my guitar and my amp out there, man, I could sit there and play all day with that. Ultimately, I'll say that the Freeman 600 has been a really great little unit, and if you're looking at getting one, they actually have a sale going right now of the current sale price, which brings it down to around $360, $350, something like that. So not a bad deal at all. And even if you're looking at that price thinking, I don't know, it's quite a bit for some batteries, it's more than just batteries. And the first time that you need it and it gives you everything that you need, you're gonna be like, oh man, definitely worth that. So that is the Freeman 600 from RockPals, and I wanna thank you so much for your support here in the channel. It's been around since 2013. In the last couple of years, I've expanded the content to include stuff like this. I really enjoy, I'm a geek. I love anything that has to do with technology and electronics, and if I can get by with getting energy from the sun, filling up a power bank, and then using that to charge my personal electric vehicles, that's a big win for me. And personally, I really like this one, so there you go. But yeah, if you're curious about electric skateboards, scooters, and bikes, I've got that content on here, and some guitar content is on the way. Can't wait to show you some of the cool stuff that I've got coming up. There is a thanks button that's down below this video if you'd like to support the channel monetarily. And of course, the easiest way to support me is if you like this content, go ahead and give that a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, there's a red subscribe button down there and a notification bell. If you click both of those, you'll get notifications when I upload new videos. I also have links down there for my social media, so if you have one of those, I'd appreciate a follow. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. We'll catch you next time on the Vapor Trail channel.